Good morning, Canada. Good day, New York. Today, I had a good career in art, but I'm not going to make a section on how to create art. Art is just, I use colors and like where you position the colors, shapes and colors. I did abstract art. So abstract art, just shapes and colors. Sometimes you can have a theme in it, like you draw an animal or a building or a river or some sort of theme you can have in it. Other times you just express emotions. That was what I did with colors and art and technique of the brush, but I don't have any technique, so I just, yeah, colors and art and shapes. But a professional artist would know more than me. But I'm here to talk to you today about music and screenplays. Because I drew a lot of films and made a lot of songs. Yeah, so that's my morning. My morning uh, lecture. So let's start with the films because that's a little more intensive, and then we'll go to the easy music stuff at the end. So just some rules you gotta follow when thinking of a screenplay. First, you brainstorm. What does that mean? There's levels to brainstorming. This applies to music as well. You can do higher level brainstorming. You can do lower level brainstorming. You can do in the middle. It doesn't matter where you start. Any idea to help you reach the final picture and add in all those little details and messages is good. So think of something. Sometimes the best thing is just to think of like the grandest, most beautiful picture you can imagine and say, that's what I want. Like, I want a movie that's going to win an Oscar and that's going to make 2 billion in revenue. And that could be the start of your brainstorming. That's already a direction. Because now you entered mainstream and you know your movie's not about some type of dark niche message, but it's something mainstream. So that's something. Or you could say, I want a new Titanic movie and I want this character. Or you could just say, I want a movie about this actress. I want this actress in my movie. I want to make a movie about her. And that's it. And then you start adding and redefining your brainstorming. So brainstorming means just get the ball rolling. Think of something, anything, one idea. Once you have that, you can move on to different levels. You can do the cast. You can do the time length of the movie. You can do the setting. You can do where it's going to be filmed. You can do the message. You can do the characters. You can do the rating. Is it PG, teen, R, mature? So brainstorm. Then when you actually film it, you want the camera angle set up. So this is the directing where the camera angle comes in. So, man, this is a good technique. Try and make the camera angle not be the main character. So don't like just, maybe it means when you're looking at the person, you don't gotta look to the side like this. Because if you try and look to the side while the character is talking, you've lost some power. Because the character's power is his power. So maybe if the character is looking directly at the camera, all that power is now captured. Whereas with the entire scene is him talking like this, then you're losing so much of his power. And if you try and be nonchalant and like, yeah, but we're just trying to make it more realistic, well, if you film it all like this in profile or at 45-degree angle, it's too obvious they're trying to make it like that. And then everybody sees that's fake. So maybe the correct solution is to have the camera angle on the character just like this when he's talking. Maybe, why not? So set up the camera angles to capture the full power of the scene and to not be the main character and to not steal anything away from the show and to not be too obvious. If it's possible. If it's some type of complex action scene, maybe you just got to do your best. But we have very good cameras today, so we can do anything we want. And it doesn't have to be all IMAX and $10 billion equipment. I film all my videos with a goddamn cell phone. It's good enough. And then you're going to incorporate the speed of the scene, the different shots to get the complete scene, the different angles. And then as you're filming, you think, at what points am I going to cut off the scene and switch to a different... This is when you're editing. When you're editing, where you're going to cut the scene off and input parts from the other scene to build tension and build steam. So you have... And then they all resolve at the same time. That's a very good technique, to have major different things resolve at the same time. If you just have this happen here and this happen here and then this happens, it's kind of going to fizzle out. But if you build up like this, and especially you show that on the camera, this happens and then this happens, and it's a movie, everything can happen at the same time. So this happens, this happens, this happens, and then boom, everything happens at once. And you could repeat that throughout the film. And it adds so much dynamics. Then you have lighting, costume, special effects. That don't overdo it, man. They always overdo it. The only reason I could think of you'd want to overdo lighting, maybe lighting is important, but costume and special effects, the only reason you'd want to overdo it, and makeup, is if you're going for an award. That doesn't make or break the film. Maybe like 15 minutes out of the entire 2-3 hours, 15 minutes needs to be costume, makeup heavy, effective to really show off special scenes. But other than that, you're just ruining the actors, man. They gotta sit in makeup for 4 hours every single day. It's a lot. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And then, so yeah, just lighting. Make sure you get good lighting and film the shot. Whatever. And then here's a key interesting fact. If you plant a little seed in the audience's mind, or just something that obviously happens, like someone gets kidnapped, don't resolve it too quickly. Get one thing to drag out through the entire movie, and then have the entire movie happen, all the ups and downs, and then you have your one special thing that you're hiding till the end. It might not be that very fascinating, but if you drag it out to the end, it makes it seem like, wow, it was so special. Same in a song. If you make one thing drag out to the end, wow, it was so special. You started it, you did everything else, and then at the end this happens. It's so much more important. Yeah, so one thing that you hide to the end. Not really the opposite of a plot twist, just plot nothingness. And then you can have your plot twists. I like plot twists that are more purposeful rather than shocking. Like a character is dying of a disease, but it's an important character, and then at a crucial moment they die. Right before they were about to meet the love of their life, they die, or something like that. So it's kind of like a twist, but it's necessary. Those are my favorite. When somebody's getting bullied and they're going to stand up to their bully and win the fight. And they do. So they're getting bullied and then all of a sudden they become the hero. That's a plot twist, but it's like it's built up. It's necessary. Those are my favorite. If you're going to do a shocking plot twist, like somebody turns out to just completely be backstabbing for personal gain, do one of those. Just one. At 75% through the movie. Just one. Otherwise, make it necessary build-ups and climax. Music, always music. People love music. So if you cannot copyright songs or get the license to songs, do a lot of music. And finally, memorable quotes. So I like to do this little technique where I just write a quote. And I say, I'm going to use this quote in the movie. It's the easiest thing you can do. It's so easy to fit anything into a movie. You can fit anything you want into a movie. You can always add a random scene for no reason. Or input the dialogue, change it up. Or even the purpose, change it up. Like when you're writing, here's a good technique. You can write something, and then if you want to make it more exciting, you can change the plot. Just change the plot. If you're writing and you're stuck, and you're just like, it will be a lot more interesting if I were able to write about this, then continue with the script, change the script. Who cares? Who cares? I do that all the time. Who cares? When I'm writing a song, I start off with one idea and then I finish with a completely different idea. You're still in scripting mode. You're allowed to do it. Who cares? Change it as you go along. It probably won't change the overall story. That's huge. You've already brainstormed that. But it'll change small things. Do that. That's perfect. Beautiful. Beautiful. Chez Kitchen. Chez Ale. La Maison. La Chef. Cooking. Change up the script. Change up the plot. Make it more exciting. And then finally, like I said before, connect your characters after you've done character building and put them through trials and shown their development through the film and elements of the plot, make it come to singular conclusions. So get everything wrapped up in a nice package. Don't have this guy go here, this guy go here, this guy go here. Blah, blah, blah. Make it all come together in a nice, neat little package with a bow. Because if you want to do a sequel, you're going to have to do everything from scratch. You don't just leave half of your writing unfinished because you're going to do a sequel or spin-offs. Put all your effort into your product. And then if you want to do a sequel, you can do 10 sequels if you want. You're just going to have to put all your effort into every single one. From scratch. Brainstorm from scratch. Brainstorming is completely new, but that means you can research. You can do research. I do research, so much research. And then you can remember what happened previously, and you have to stick to that research foundation. That's how you connect stories and things like that, and themes and sequels and related works and spin-offs. You do your research, but you still brainstorm everything new from scratch, and then you add your research so it looks like it's very tied in and connected. But everything is new. And when you're building a script, like I said, newness. You want to make new. When you get stuck, if you have nothing new, it's going to be very lame. It's going to be very mild. You want to have the new stuff. New. Sometimes just one new thing per section or whatever. Think of something new. And then write down the possible outcomes and pick one. And that's what you're going to create. That's new. So it looks like, wow, it's so majestical and genius. But all it is something new that you dedicated your time to, and a fresh idea that you polished and inserted into your work. But you look like a genius at the end because, oh wow, it fits in so perfectly with the story, and yeah, beautiful storytelling. All it is one new element to fit with your brainstorming and your dialogues between the characters and your themes and your ideas. And finally, remember to connect real concrete themes. Your story is more powerful when even if you're writing about aliens or animals, do real themes like love, hope, greed, hate, anger, justice, duty, mercy. Real themes. Coming of age, growing up, fatherhood, parenting, relationships. Powerful themes, real themes. Man versus machine. Art versus machine. Passion versus rich versus passion, so do powerful themes. Think of that in your film. So that about does it for the film section. Music, remember all of that you can do for music as well. And all of the music stuff you can maybe apply to the film stuff. So let's see what I got in the music. Once again, you got a music is like a film, except you got different sections. So when you start the brainstorm, the highest level of brainstorming. I want a song about this. I want a song that's going to sell this much. I want a song that's going to use this type of instrument. I want a song that's going to have this type of beat. High level design. I want a song in this genre. Just high level design. Then you can set out your components like the instruments, the rhythm, the beat, the vocals, the tempo, the lyrics, the pace. Those are the different sections that you're going to need to build to have a big one final song. And then you sketch out a reference where you start from. So a reference could sometimes be opening up the session and recording a guitar loop right away, creating a drum beat right away, creating a bass rhythm right away. Or you could just go away from the computer and write down a couple of lyrics and turn that into a verse, into a hook, into a pre-chorus, into a chorus, verse 2. Your lyrics are very powerful. They convey the message. For me, I do all improvisation, but you can structure your song. When you have your recording session in front of you, once you have a tempo, so you record the drum beat with a metronome, beep, 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 and that's your tempo. Then you break it down into 4 bars intro, 8 bars verse, 4 bars pre-chorus, 8 bars chorus hook, 8 bars verse 2, 8 bars chorus. And then you can add a whole bunch of instruments and drum pads and where you're gonna place everything. And then as you're mixing, remember to pan everything. So this goes to the right, this goes to the left, and add chorus, reverb, delay, compression, EQ, reverb, delay, harmonics, distortion, special effects, dynamics. That's when you're mixing, as well as arrangement. So you're gonna shift this here, shift that here, shift this here, shift this here. That's very fun. You're like you're like a master architect, placing all your little blocks where you record them in the computer, loops, 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4 bar, and you dissect them and place them in different sections of the song to make a work of art. And then but as you're before you're doing that, you need to first lay down. The first thing I lay down is after I pick the tempo, I lay down the percussion. So drum pad on your MIDI keyboard, lay down a percussion beat, 4 bars, 8 bars, repeat it, organize it, arrange it. Then you lay down the bass. If you lay down the bass, remember to go down octaves. Sometimes you can play a bass in the middle of the keyboard, depending on which instrument, which type of bass sound you choose. But generally, if it's not too harsh, go down octave and play the bass from there, because bass is supposed to be low. And then, I don't know, you got to be a really specialist to make it really thump in the speaker. I always didn't want to overdo it, but if you want to make like house music or really strong rap, hip hop, you got to make the bass really bump, and you add really big compression and I don't even know, reverb to it. Transients, you want to make it so you want to make it pop like this, sharp and pop. There's a bunch of techniques to do that. It's too complicated for me. I just mainly get it out there, lay it out, the bass. Or sometimes I skip the bass, whatever. Next part is your piano or your guitar or whatever lead you have, saxophone, synths, whatever lead you have, where you're going to have some chords, some melody, some nice, refreshing, soothing sounds in the middle of the EQ range, middle of the frequency spectrum. And you're going to mix that. You're going to mix it very well, add the effects to it, pan it to the left, to the right, because the vocals come at the end after the song is done, so you can hear what you're singing and rapping to. And vocals are the most important. So make sure you mix everything and whatever, and then you add the vocals at the end. And leave room for the vocals. So pan this to the left, pan that to the right, change the EQ of this, change the EQ of that. Bass goes lower EQ, leads go higher EQ, vocals go high EQ and in the middle EQ, so leave space for that. And then you can also de-EQ things, make things lower if you want to leave space for other things to be brought out. This is all technical stuff, but it's what you got to go through when you're making a song. Everybody's got to go through these steps. And then the chords guide, you have a key. So make sure you pick, the key comes from the bass. So when the first instrument you record, you need to record in the correct key. So the bass, and then these middles, piano, guitar, instruments, trumpets, saxophones, flutes, violins, strings. They're in the middle and the high end, and they got to be in the correct key. And they follow melodies, or they follow chords, or I just do improvisation for all of that. And then in the end, you do your vocals. So you have your section. You record your verse, your chorus, your verse, your chorus. The most fun part, unfortunately, it is the most shortest part. Unless you're doing 1,000 takes, I do everything in 1 take. So it's the most fun and the most rewarding because you spent hours making and building and thinking and recording and mixing the entire song from start to end and arranging. And then vocals, you wrote it down. That was fun too, but short. Unless you're doing some type of poetry, vocals generally are written very quickly. You write an entire verse in like 5 minutes, and then you take a break, and then the next day you write the chorus in 5 minutes, and then the next day you write the verse. So you don't get to enjoy a lot in vocals unless you're performing. When you're performing and you're doing vocals, it's very fun. Other than that, and then you record it, and then it's done. Your song is complete. When you're recording your vocals, you got to warm up for 10 minutes. People do 20 minutes. I just do 10 minutes. And you record, you warm up longer than you record. And then you rehearse the lyrics. And then when you record it, you always read the lyrics. It doesn't matter if you know them. If you read the lyrics, it's going to sound so much better on the recording, because you're going to be syncopating all the beats differently when you read something as opposed to when you sing it from memory. So that's one trick. If you memorize it and then sing it from memory, you got to be really, really, really good at it. And that only comes when you've heard the song thousands of times on the radio and whatever. But until people will memorize that song to that point, there's no way you're going to be able to syncopate it that perfectly unless you're reading it. And then you can syncopate every single syllable and stuff like that as you're reading it. And that's the procedure when you record a song. You got to do all that. You got to do the instruments, you got to do the arranging, you got to do the mixing. You got to do it step by step. You got to do the vocals, you got to do the lyrics. You can get different people to do different things. Just make sure you're all on the same page. You can get a producer to do the beat. You can get a drummer. You can get a guitarist. You can get a writer. You can get a vocalist. You can get a singer. You can get a mixing engineer. You can get a mastering engineer. I do everything myself. That's not the way generally people do it. Whatever. Who cares? And then how to be creative. Like I said, messages, themes. It's a mastery. It's more of a mastery than it is a technique. So like when you record a guitar song, you have to know which note by note, you want to play next. You start here, quiet. You go here, loud. You repeat, loud. You bring it back to here. And then you go to a completely new spot. And then done. And then you repeat, quiet, loud. Repeat that same part loud, quiet, new spot, done. And then a scale. Stop to bottom. When you're making the beats, just the main melody, the main beat. You got to know exactly. You can think of it, take some time to think of that. But you got to know every single note which comes after the note. And that just takes mastery. As for the lyrics, be creative as well. You got to know when you're going to be direct and not rhyme and not put any artistic flavor on it at all. And other times when you're going to go completely straight to the moon and sing about a donkey on the moon and a river and a whale and a shooting meteor and a volcano and a unicorn. And you're going to talk about that in your song. And then you're going to completely shift it to be creative and entertaining. And you're going to talk about direct in your face 3 regular words. And then you're going to go back to the moon. So that's how you switch it up. Again, it's being creative, having a mastery, as well as talking about real things you want to talk about. Sometimes you do it directly. Sometimes you do metaphors and representation. So you pretend you talk about this, but it's really referencing what you're actually meaning and directing your song towards is actually this, but you portray it like this. So you mask it, you shadow it. Again, it's a mastery, it's a artistry. Kiki. Kiki. But remember, when you're creating art, music, film, it's got a different components to it. It's no different than building a car or building technology or building a nuclear power plant or building a house. You got different parts. You got where's the water going to come from? Where's the heating going to come from? Where's the electricity come from? Where's the backyard? Where's the parking? Where's the garage? Where's the foundation? Where's the interior designs? Which room is going to go where? Where's the living room? Where's the kitchen? Where's the sink? Where's the toilets? Where's the insulation? What are the materials we're going to use? What's the budget? What's the time frame we're going to make out of it? What's the architecture? What's the house going to look like from the outside, from the inside? What colors are we going to use? There's a lot of stuff. If you actually try and make something yourself, complete, proper work of art, you're going to have to go through all of this. So just remember, the brainstorming starts with finding out anything you can about your complete idea. And then you go from there and add in what you can fill in about the details of your masterpiece. And that's why artists have such a hard time, because thinking of all of this takes a lot of effort and energy and emotional strain. It's true. So you have all these sections, and then you got to think about the theme, what you're trying to get a message across, and the purpose of your art. Whether it's just looking wonderful or doing that at the same time, referencing in the scope of all of this ideas and concepts. So remember, you have all of these different sections, and you got to work your way through them. That's all there is to it. I encourage you to try yourself. You can get a recording studio for $200. $200, you get a microphone and an interface and a little keyboard, and the software is $100. $300, you get a recording studio. You can get a guitar, electric guitar for $100, an amplifier for $100. Plug it into the computer, make a song, play the guitar. You can get cheap stuff. You can get art supplies for $100. You can get paintbrushes, canvases. You can get a film, any type of phone that has a camera. $200 phone is great for in today's age. And then just film something. Film yourself talking. Make a little script. Make a little scenario. Film collectibles that you have. Talk about collectibles. Whatever. You don't have to be a professional, but I encourage you to try making art, either painting or films or videos, songs, music. It could be live, it could be recorded. Just play around with it. It's very fun, and you might get good at it. And then it's very rewarding because you always have proof of something that you made. If you're a professional, you work for money and you work for jobs and you come and go and leave and your work is lost. You sell it. You sell yourself. But if you're working just for yourself, for the pleasure of doing it, you get to keep everything you make. You keep it, you have it recorded, you have it written down, you have it. These same concepts go for writing as well. Writing follows the same path as well. You got to write about this. You got to break it down, all the ideas. Writing is just like this as well. You start off with the one point of the general idea you want to write about, and then you zero in on the specifics. And then it's the same thing as building the movie script. You have different characters. You have different scenes. You have dialogues. You have why they're saying what they're saying, what points you are making, why you're saying these points. That's the writing. And then you have the style, how you're going to write. People think, oh, writing's hard because I don't know about the writing style. I don't know how to make a sentence and where I'm going to put a comma, which big words am I going to use, which adjectives, which punctuation marks. That's not what writing is about. Many great writers don't even care about that stuff. Just what you're trying to say is important and why you're saying it. And if you can think of something creative and build all the individual components together, you can write something fantastic, whether it's just a column, journalism, or whether it's a full novel. If you think of all the different parts, and like I said in the script, building this up, building this theme together, these dialogues, keeping one element that you're going to stick throughout to the end, necessary plot twists where people become more powerful, and big inflection points, and things resolving together at one point, and why characters speak, why they do this, why you're portraying this the characters' personalities. That's what writing is about, being creative and brainstorming and then just flowing. And if you get stuck, this is my tip. If you get stuck, write very low level. Write low level. If you were writing about this incredible battle, or this incredible argument, or this incredible revelation of data, and you get stuck, you're writing this very magnificent data that you have, and you get stuck, and you come back to it the next day and you don't know how you're going to continue, go right to the bottom. Go right to the bottom. Talk about the weather. Talk about what a person ate for coffee. Talk about what they were wearing as they were doing what they were doing. Talk about how they started the next day. Go tone it down. Tone it very down. And then start writing, and then you'll be able to build it up again. And then once you get stuck, because once you're stuck, you have nowhere to go. Once you're up here, you have nowhere to go. Like the stock market. Stock market goes like this, it's got to come down. And then it goes up and then down. So take some time, tone it down when you're writing, and then you'll be able to get to a new part. It's just going to flow. But don't worry about the style and the correct grammar and all that crap. We have editors that do that, and editing software that will do that for you. Focus on what you want to say. And once again, this is your pal Nick Vico telling you to try this yourself. It's very fun and rewarding because you get to keep everything you make. Writing, filming, scripting, storytelling, researching, music, painting, artworks, sculptures, building, works of art are free for everyone to try. Maybe not free, maybe 100, 200, 300 bucks. And that'll last you 10 years. Trust me. You could write about the smallest stuff. You could write about anything. You could find facts and researches and put it into documents. You could post it on Pinterest. I don't even know what Pinterest is, but probably you could post your poems on there and stuff like that, you know? Your little paintings and stuff like that. So you always have a reminder of them. So I hope this has taught you stuff that, remember, you gotta have sections and brainstorm and really maneuver your way through all the different components, because it's no different than building a house. You have different components, you work your way through them, and you make them all fit together while being creative and having real themes and messages. And that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. I'm drinking Orange Fruitopia. They sent me 4 of these because it was buy one get one another one off. So I ended up with 4 of them. So yeah. Stay classy, New York. Stay artistic, Paris. And stay creative, Canada.